real quickly, I just want to review our mnemonic that we use to determine in which quadrants an angle must terminate for our trig functions to be positive or negative. So we kind of remember this, all students take calculus mnemonic here, and it just is a quick kind of primer here. Remember that all x and y values in the first quadrant are both positive, but x is negative in the second quadrant, y is positive. As we look at our third quadrant, x and y are both negative, and as we look at the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. So as we kind of always are keeping our definitions of our trig functions in mind here, sine is y over r, cosine is x over r, tangent is y over x, okay? As we look at those, and we keep in mind that r is always positive, it just means that the only time sine is positive is if the y value here is positive. It would be a positive or a positive. So where does that happen? Well, it happens in the first quadrant where everybody's positive, but it also happens in the second quadrant where sine is positive. Hey, likewise, where's cosine going to be positive? Well, only where x is positive. So we see that in our first quadrant and our fourth quadrant where x's are positive, we get it is positive, being a cosine function. How about a tangent ratio? This is y over x. Well, this is going to happen wherever our x values and our y values are exactly the same. So same sign. So positive divided by a positive, or a negative divided by a negative here. And so you see that this happens in the first and the third. And each of these letters around the outside kind of just gives us an indication as to which trig function out of sine, cosine, and tangent is positive within that given quadrant. Okay. So I just kind of want to make sure that we're always comfortable using this to kind of determine where we might be. So number 7 here, I ask, determine the quadrant in which phi lies if secant of phi is negative and tangent of phi is positive. So, kind of just drawing this out here, we can make this real big, but what would I know if the secant of my angle is negative? Well, secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So if secant is negative, guys, cosine is negative. We say cosine of this angle phi is negative. And if cosine is negative, well, yikes, we couldn't be in the first quadrant, and we certainly couldn't be in the fourth quadrant. Now, we also are told that the tangent of this very same angle is positive. So of the two remaining quadrants, which one is tangent positive in? That would be the third, so we couldn't be in the second. It just means that our angle had to terminate in the third quadrant if this is true. So we say phi is in quadrant 3, but because we know what must be true about the signs of our trig functions in the quadrants. Cheers.